hamoitzi yayin, right? If somebody takes water out, it takes wine out. What's the shear of taking wine? It's kemoitzi. It's kedei mezigas hakois, right? So what is mezigas hakois? The amount you need, the amount that you have when you need to water it down. Like that's
and that's what concentrate. The concentrate that's going to be watered down later.
Right. So the Gemara said, Tana kedei mezigas hakois yafe. All right, my kois yafe. What does kois yafe mean? Kois bracha. So it means a kaishal bracha, which means what we're saying is that the amount of water that's needed, the amount of concentrated wine that's needed for a kaishal bracha, right, and which will then subsequently be diluted with water, right? But the amount of wine that's needed for that's how much wine we're talking about. He says that a kaishal bracha needs to have a quarter of a revius. Why? Because the shear has got to be a revius, and therefore you need to have a quarter of actual wine, so that when you dilute it 3 parts water to 1 part wine, and then you'll have the full revius, right? So he would say that the Mishnah is saying reva revius is the shear of how much you would be chayav for Shabbos for wine, right? So Amar Rav Nanami Tanina, he says we also learned. Hamoitzi yayin kedei mezigas kois v'tani ola, and it says, meaning he's trying to say that it's muchach from the brisa, that the brisa says about the Mishnah kedei mezigas kois yaf. V'tani seifa, and then the end of the Mishnah says v'shar kol mashkin revius, that the rest all mashkin are revius, right? So, I mean, the idea is that because all mashkin are revius, so therefore yayin also be'etzem is going to have the same shear. Right, so therefore, elamai yayin is not pure yayin because it's always mixed with water, right? So therefore, it's the yayin that makes a revius, right? So even though it's not an actual revius, but because the shear is always a revius, so it's the yayin that makes a revius. So for Rav l'taimi damarava kol chamrid leidari al chad plus ma'ay lav chamrhu. Rav is according to his shita that holds any wine that doesn't have 3 parts water to 1 part wine is not wine. I guess if it's less, it's too strong. If it's more, it's too diluted. Amar Abai doesn't like this. There's shtei tshuvas b'davar. Chada d'tnan v'hamazug shnei chalkei mayim v'echad yayin. It says in the Mishnah Nida that talks about the mare of dam nida, what's considered dam that's tamei, and it says that if it looks like brown wine, like muddy colored wine, right? So then that is the color of dam. Right, one of them was mud. One of them, there's different maris of dam. So one of them is wines. If it's wine that's diluted, 2 parts water to 1 part wine. From the wine that comes from Sharon. Right, that's where that wine came from. Right, so you see that the Mishnah is saying that it's 2 to 1.
That's weaker wine then. That must be weaker because weaker or stronger.
No, that's stronger because it's only 2 parts water to 1 part wine.
No, if it's really strong, then you need more water. I mean, it's weaker because you need less.
Right, it'll be weaker.
Well, you're saying the actual concentrate is weaker.
Right.
Or
you need less water to make it a cup.
Or they're making their wine stronger, or the actual wine is the wine concentrate is the same. It's just they hold that you need to add less water because they hold wine has got to be stronger.
Okay.
Yep.
They're real men. Okay.
Right. No, that's what it seems. It seems that it's being diluted less. No, so we'll see. The Gemara is going to be mechalik in different types of wine. But so Amal Rava, so Rava tells him back. Sorry. So his first time was his first tool. The Mishnah doesn't say like you, right? The Mishnah doesn't say that it's 3 parts to 1, right? So therefore, it's not going to be a roiva revius, right? Your cheshbon in the Mishnah that it's a roiva revius and that it's muchach because you need to have a 3 to 1. No, it's not true because really it's 2 parts to 1, right? So therefore you would need, I guess, according to Abai, you would say it's a third of a revius, right? How could you? The water's still in the pitcher and it's mitzdarif. And Abai's issue is how could you say that only the concentrated wine you're chayiv just for that, even though you didn't add water yet? Isn't it only chashav because you add water? Now, every other mashka has to have a revius, and you're saying because the potentiality of this wine is to have a revius, after you add the water, that's enough to be mechayiv, even though the water that you're supposed to add to it is still in the jug. Mayim bekadum mitzdarfin. How could it mitzdarf? You need a full cup of wine.
It's
So
a good kasha. You don't
Yep.
care about
Right.
the potential. You care about what the drink is.
Right.
In actuality. Right, so Rav was going to answer back. This that you're telling me that that the Mishnah said, that it's 2 parts wine, 2 parts water, 1 part wine. That's minayan ashirani. That's specifically, right, and that's the Mishnah. That's specifically yayin ashirani l'chud the Rafi, because that
Like you said, Aaron, it's weaker.
it's weaker, and therefore you need less water. Meaning, if you would put the regular amount of water, so it would mamish be diluted. So since it's already weak, you only put less water. Inami, also mishum chazusa. Or a different answer I'll tell you, that don't bring me that brisa in either, because over there we're not discussing hilchos yayin. We're not talking about wine. We're talking about chazusa. We're talking about the color, right? So we're trying to give you a sign for what color dam is considered dam tamei. Right, so therefore, I'm just telling you. Look, if you take this yain, you add 2 parts water. That's the color. I'm not saying that that's the way you make wine, right? I'm telling you that that's the wine. That's the amount of dilution I'm talking about in terms of the color, right? So hasam mishum chazusa. Aval the time of ba'itze to actually taste it, you need more water, right? So don't be that Mishnah is also irrelevant. But the ka'amert ma'im likad mitzdarfin, right? The fact your kasha that how could it be the water is not there, so how's it mitzdarf? Regarding Shabbos, all we care about is something that's chashuv. And this is also chashuv. Right? So Rava's taina is that Lamaisa, by a regular mashka, it's only chashuv if you have the actual revius. Right? But over here, Lamaisa, since the concentrate is the actual chashuv part, right? So therefore, and because it's considered chashuv because it makes a revius, so therefore that's enough to be chayiv on Shabbos. Okay, so we have it sounds like a machalik is a BeiRav, but that's what Rava holds. Okay, so Tana yavish b'kazayis. Now let's say you have wine that dried up. It dried up, it lost its moisture, and so how much do I have to carry in order for it to in order for me to be chayiv? So if it's kazayis, then you'd be chayiv. Do Reb Nasan. I'm Rabbi Yosef, Reb Nasan, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Davar Echad. Right, so this. Reb Nasan that we said, and Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda and the following brisa said they hold the same thing. Reb Nasan Hadam Marim, but we said Rabbi Yosef Bar Yehuda. Well, how do you see he concurs with Reb Nasan's shita? The Tanya. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Shisha Dvar Mikulei Bishamai Muchamer Beis Hillel. Rabbi Yehuda says that he lists 3 things, not that they're the only things, but he happened to list and testify about 6 things that Beis Shammai is mekel, even though they're usually machmer. Right? Dam nevela. If you have the blood of an avela by Shammai mitaharin, they hold it's tahar. It's not basar. Basar nevela is metame, but dam is not basar. Oh, Beis Hillel or metame, no, they hold it's tame. Okay, so even though it's dam, even though it's just blood, Beis Hillel holds it's tame. So Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda afkeshetimu Beis Hillel, even though Beis Hillel were metame dam and they look at dam as if it's basar, lo yitimu ela b'dam sheish b'revius. They were metame dam unless it has an actual revius. Since it could become dry and when it dries up, it wilts into the size of an olive, right? So what he's saying is that even though the basar of an avela is metame v'kazayis, right? When we're saying the dam is metame, don't tell me you need a kazayis of dam, meaning just a little bit of dam, of liquid dam in that is equal to the volume of a kazayis. No, because dam isn't meat. We still understand that dam isn't the same thing as basar. They're just saying dam is metame, but it still has to have the same shear of meat, and the shear of meat, even though it's a kazayis over here, you need a revius of dam, because the revius of dam, when it's concentrated and when it's diluted and when it's packed together, becomes a kazayis, right? So therefore, you need a revius, right? So you need a dam that has revius. Since that is equal to kazayis in solid, right? So even though Beis Hillel understand that dam is like basar, that it's metame, but it's still a liquid. They understand that it's a liquid and it's liquefied, and therefore you need more to equal the zayis of a solid. So what do you see here? You see that Rabbi Yehuda held that a liquid that's a revius is equal to a kazayis in solid, right? And therefore the Gemara is saying, look, he holds the same thing, just like Rabbi Nasan held that if you carry a zayis of yain, a zayis of dry wine on dried up wine on Shabbos, then you'd be chayiv, right? Because a kazayis is equal to revius. Kazayis of sal is equal to revius and liquid. So says the Gemara, no. Maybe no, maybe they do not concur. It's two separate shitas, and they would not agree. He only said it over here by wine. The by revius elabiyain the kolish, only by wine, which is watered down. Since it's watered down, so therefore, you need a kazayis. Aval bedam de samich, but by blood which is thicker, it's much more dense. So then maybe kazayis le baravis. Maybe in order to get a kazayis equal to a kazayis of basar, you wouldn't even need a revius, right? So only by wine he holds you need the bigger, like an actual kazayis, because it's a much thinner, less dense consistency. So therefore you need as much as a zayis of fully dried up. But dam, which is anyway much thicker, maybe you don't need a full revius. Or maybe no, Rabbi Yehuda he only said by dam because it's thick, so the shear is going to be a revius. But yain, which is much less dense, so he holds kazayis have a yoser revius, that a kazayis of wine is equal to more than a revius. And even if you take out less than a kazayis, right? It's the same idea. The point is that yain and dam are two separate densities, and therefore, since just because the Rabbi Yehuda said by dam that it's equal to a zayis, maybe that's true for dam, which is that density, which he has something that's less dense. So a revius of yain is equal to even less than the zayis, because it's much less dense. It's less dense, and therefore, if you carry out even less than a zayis, you would be chai, right? So again, I think we're saying no comparison, and essentially the chilik is because dam is more dense than yain. Okay, chalav k'dei gemiya. Now the Mishnah said that if you take out chalav k'dei gemiya, which means the amount it takes to swallow or to pour, right? So ibaya lehu k'dei gemiya or k'dei gemiya. The Gemara is going to ask a few questions over here, stam, in terms of spelling. How do you spell it? Is it with an aleph or with an ayin? Torah says that Eliezer asked Rivka, pour for me some water from your jug, right? And that's with an aleph. So you see that it's with an aleph. Right? It sounds like the Gemara is having a question of what does the actual text of the Mishnah say, right? And we're saying no. I mean, it should be an aleph taka. In our Mishnah, we taka have an aleph. No, so it's like not for us. It's not a shiloh because we look at the Mishnah. Oh, that's the text. No, but you see the Gemara is taka questioning the text. Is it what is it exactly? Now gar'inin or gar'inin, right? We had yesterday that a discussion as to whether the pits aren't mitzaref because the pits aren't part of the chashav of food for the shir, right? Or whatever. Every time the Mishnah says the word garin, which means a pit, right? Is it with an aleph or with an ayin? Pasuk talks about how you deduct money from the value of when you redeem something. You deduce the value of that was already used, right? So Gemara is saying that it's the same lashon of vinigra. Just like vinigra means to deduct, so too you deduct the pit, right? You don't eat the pit, you take it out. So it's the same word vinigra, so it's with an ayin. The Mishnah talks about when you have coals that are glowing, and they're not fully extinguished, they're still glowing. But what's the word? Is it I with an aleph or an ayin? Arazim le'amamuhu began Elohim. That the pasuk is talking about the strength of some nation or something, right? So it's saying that the trees didn't make it darken, didn't extinguish it like began Elohim, right? And the trees don't overshadow and overdarken. I forgot which nation the Yechezkel, I think it's the pasuk in Yechezkel is talking about. But either way, the word amamuhu means to darken. But you see that it's with an ayin. We can have it later on. When if a person dies on Shabbos, the Mishnah says you're not allowed to close his eyes. That's ma'amtzin. So the pasuk talks about someone who closes his eyes looking at bad things, right? So you see it's with an ayin. Tanu Rabbanan Hamaitzi chalav shel behema kedei gmiya chalav kedei gmiya, right? Chalav of a behema is kedei gmiya, like we said, is the amount to swallow, the amount that fills your mouth. Chalav shel isha v'loivin shel beitza, the milk of a natural mother's milk, v'loivin shel beitza, and the white of an egg. How much is kedei litan b'mishefa shel kilar? The amount you need to put it into a mixture of kilar. Kilar is like an ointment that they put on their eye, right? So we said that was the shear for mayim also, right? But that's meaning to put on the kilar. But so too, the amount you need to mix into the mixture of this lotion that you put on the eye, that's how much chalav isha, I guess they would put the breast milk in it, and loivin shel beitza also. And kilor, how much kilor is kedei lashuf b'mayim? The amount that would be needed, the amount you have, which is ready to mix with water, and then Rashi says, and to apply to 2 eyes. I guess the amount that you need minus the water, I guess. BeiRav Ashi kedei shifa kedei achiza, asks Rav Ashi, but when you take out, let's say you take out a certain amount of lotion, which you're going to need to apply to your eyes, right? But always when you apply lotion to your eyes, there's going to be some left on your hands, right? So Abaye is asking, is it the exact amount? Am I chayav on the exact amount that gets onto my eyes? Or I'm only chayav on the exact amount that I need, that I would have also left on my hand, plus what I'm applying to my eyes? Meaning usually, right, you could say you need an exact 5 milliliters, whatever, of this lotion in order for your eyes. Yeah, but I always need a little more because some is going to be stuck on my hands, right? So Rashi is saying, well, what's considered the chashav amount? Is it the actual amount that ends up on my eyes, or the amount I need because some is going to, and that's a little more because some is going to stay on my hands. So take what the Gemara says. We don't know. Dvash kedei litan al kasis, dvash to put on type of bruise or something. Tana kedei litan al pi kasis.
Did you miss something? I'm sorry, I skipped.
Right.
Meyer.
Okay, so dvash kedei litan al pi kasis, to put on top of a sword. We said Rashi said that it came from an animal that a load of an animal. They get these bruises. So tana kedei litan al pi kasis, it has to be on top of it. Sounds like, right, we're adding the word al pi kasis. So where Rashi, what does it mean? Al kasis apuma dekula kasis, does it mean on the mouth of the entire thing? Oidilma amursha kama de kasis. It's only on the top, mamish, the top part of a kasis. The fuke hodarna deloy, but not the slant. The slant part, right? I guess it's like a pimple type of thing, or like it's something that comes out, right? So is it only the top tip? And that's what it means, al pi kasis. That's the shear of dvash that you would be chayav for, or even the it just means the whole, because it extends out. So therefore, the whole part is called al pi kasis. Okay, so again, teiku. Everything Hashem created, He didn't create anything levatala. Bara shabelul lekasis. Shabelul is a type of slug or something that you would put onto a kasis, onto the sore, and it would help it. Right? So when you see these ichi slugs and bugs and whatnot, right? He's saying, don't think that it's for waste. No, each one has a purpose, and like he's saying, look, it could. It's, I guess, sort of like a leech type of thing, where you put it, you apply it to your skin and it helps the sore. Whereas zvuv l'tzira, zvuv, a fly, is good for tzira, which is the like a bee, a wasp or a bee's sting, right? So if you zvuv, what?
I have to try that next time.
Right. Apparently, it helps.
Crush the fly and place it on the place of the sting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you crush it, right? You crush it and then you put it on. Okay. Yitush l'nachash, the same thing with a mosquito, I guess. Yitush l'nachash for a snake bite. Nachash.
Here translates yitush as a gnat.
A gnat. Okay.
GNAT.
What's a gnat?
It's a very teeny small fly. It's like almost like a fruit fly. It's about that's it's so tiny. I don't know what. Let's have to see. You have to crush that too.
What does Rashi say?
20. See Orach Hashalom. Doesn't.
Rashi doesn't say. Somehow it helps. In modern Hebrew, the word yitush is used for mosquito. But in Hanami, it could totally be something else. Yeah. So yitush lenachash for a snake bite. V'nachash lachafafis. Chafafis, Rashi says, is a type of boils, min shchin, right? So I guess somehow the snake also helps that. Either you might also crush it or make some ointment out of the snake and put it on. V'samomis le'akrav. Samomis is a spider, I think. For an akrav, for a scorpion's bite. Also, Rashi says you crush it up and you put it on it. You apply it to the bite and then it helps. Heichi avidle. So over here the Gemara asks regarding the snake. Rashi says, how does the snake help the boils? You bring one black one and one black and one white snake. You cook it together, and then you apply it and smear it onto the boils, and it helps it. Tana Rabbanan. Okay, so once we mention those things, we're going to mention something is connected. Chamisha Emaishem. There are 5 fears. Emas Cholash al Gibor, which is the fear of a weak thing. On the fear. I mean, a Gibor fears a much weaker thing. Emas Mafgia al Ari. Mafgia, Rashi says, is a type of small animal that has a very loud voice, and a lion gets very afraid of him. So even though it's much smaller, he's able to instill great amount of fear into the lion. So that's Emas Mafgia al Ari. Emas Yitush al Pil, this gnat, right? Rashi says an elephant gets very scared because these gnats would go into their nose, right? Their nose is their most chashuv thing, right? And it would mess them up, right? So they're very scared of these gnats, even though the elephant is 1,000 times bigger, 1,000,000 times bigger than the gnat, right? Emas Samamis hala Akrav. The akrav, also scorpion, is very afraid of the spider. Like we saw that the spider is a remedy for the akrav, right? But Rashi says that the samamis, it goes into the ear or something. Okay, so somehow the spider instills fear in the akrav too. Ema sanvanis al nesher, and sanvanis is also a type of insect or something. Or maybe it's a smaller bird, al hanesher, on the eagle. Rashi says that it goes under the wings of an eagle, and it locks it somehow that the eagle, it bites it or something in a way that the eagle can't open its wings. Right? So that, again, the eagle is the queen of the birds, and still it's afraid of this little thing. And emas kilbis alavyasan. The kilbis is a little sheretz, Rashi says. It's a little thing in the water, and it goes into the ear of a levyasan, of a big whale, right? So this big whale is afraid of this little thing because it goes into the ear and messes it up. So it's a pasuk in that discusses that a small thing, shayid, I guess, is a small thing, instills fear al-az on something that's much more. Az is, something much stronger and more powerful, gets afraid of something that's just much smaller. Okay, so Rabbi Zera Ashkech Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zera finds Rabbi Yehuda, Davakoi Apischel Bechamuha, who was sitting on by the door of his father-in-law. He saw that he was in a jokey mood. He was in a very good mood. Anything would have asked him in the earth, in the entire earth, he would have answered him. Whereas regularly, you wouldn't ask Talmud Chacham random things, right? But over here, he saw him in a very good mood. So he said, it's a good time to strike up conversation and talk about random Zachin. So Amar Lei, my time, easy mazgon bereisha, v'hadar imri. Why do goats first go when you're a shepherd, when he shepherds animals and goats and sheep together? The goats always go first, and then the sheep. Amar Lei kibriyasa shel olam. Just like the world was created, the bereisha chashaycha. First it was dark v'hadar nahar, and then came light. So the goats are darker. They go first. That's the natural progression of things, and then the sheep, which are white, come. My time, mahani michsiyan v'hani migliyan. why is their rump uncovered, and I guess the izim are uncovered. The tail doesn't cut. The tail, I guess, sticks up, and but the sheep it covers them. It covers the rump. So hani michsin v'hani megalion. Why? What's pshat? What's pshat in that difference? So the Gemara says hani de michsinon minayu machsinon. The sheep which we make clothing out of, and we get covered from their stuff, right? So then michsion also, they have this element of being covered. They have a bechina of being covered, and therefore their tail covers them. But the izim which we don't use to cover us, megalion, so it's revealed. So it's consistent with how we use the hairs of these animals, the fur. My time a gamla zutar gnufte. How come a camel's gnufte is a tail? How come the camel's tail is small? Mishum de'achal kisi, because he eats a bush that has thorns in it. So because he hangs around with thorns, his tail would get stuck in the thorns. That's not good. That's why it's short. My time a tura aricha gnufte. How come an ox or a cow's tail is long? Mishum de'dayer be'agmi, because it hangs out in the swamp. Uboi the karkushe baki, and it wants to and the gnats, whatever, the mosquitoes want to, they always start biting it. He takes the tail and he swats at them, right? So therefore, the nature that Kosh Baruch Hu put in these animals is that for each one, for its personal nature, they have their tools to deal with it. My time a karna dekamtza rikicha. Why is the horn of a grasshopper rikicha? Why is it soft? Mishum dedari bechilfi, because it lives amongst arava. Rashi chilfi is arava is a willow, right? V'ikashia nadia umisavra, and if it would be hot, and if his horn, what are that those antennae that stick out of the grasshoppers, if it would be hard, so it would bang into it would fly around, bang into the willow, which I guess is hard, and nadia umisavra, and it would bang into it, and it would fall off, it would crack. If it would be hard, it would crack, and then it would get blinded, right? The Amar Shmuel, Haiman de Bayi de Lisme lekamtza l'shlufin lekarne. Shmuel says if someone wants to blind a grasshopper, so all you have to do is take out its horn, take out those antennae, and it's going to become blind. That's where it sees from, whatever, it blinds it, right? So therefore, Hashem made it soft so that because it flies into hard things, so it's flexible, it's not going to break. My time a timra de tanagolsa midli le'ela. How come the timra is the eyelids of the
lower eyelid, it says. The
lower
lower
eyelid says the lower eyelid
closes over the upper one.
Over the upper one, right? And that's not normal. Usually the animals, Rashi says, Sharkal Beria, Elion Shoicha, it's the opposite. The top one sort of overlaps on the bottom one. So why is it different by a Tarnagoyla? Says the Gemara, I just lost the place a second. My time high timber the Tarnagosa midli leila. The Gemara says the diary adape, because it lives on top of beams and stuff. And there's always smoke in a place where there's like beams and pieces of wood that people are burning smoke and stuff. I guess the chicken hangs out there. I guess maybe if they're cooking, the chickens are around or something, and there's always smoke coming in. So therefore, if the smoke goes in this avra, it would get blinded by the smoke, right? So therefore, the lower eyelid overlaps above and seals it shut from the bottom, right? Mashenkin the others, if it would be from on top, so then the smoke would still be able to get in. Now, dasha. Now he's starting explaining these words, what these words, why these are the names for the words. So dasha means a door, right? But dasha, why is it called a dasha? Because derech sham, the way to get to the house is that way. Dargo, which means like steps or a ladder. Derech gag. He's saying it's an amalgamation. It's a play on words. Derech gag, the way to get to the roof. That's how you need steps to get to the roof. Maskulisa, Rashi says, is a type of dip. Kutach, right? So a dip would would last a long time. It's not that you don't just eat it. You don't eat it straight. It's a dip, right? So therefore it comes from the words masai tichla. When is it going to end? When's it going to finish? Right? Because it always lasts so long because you just dip it. You just dip your bread in it. Da bisa. Ba the asiv ba. Also masai tichla da. Sorry, masai tichla da. Right, that's maskuli, so that's the dip. Masai tichla da. When will this end? Besa. Why is it called besa? A house. Ba the asiv ba. Come, let's sit in it. Right, so that's the word. Biksa. Bei akta. Biksa Rashi says is a small house. Bei akta is miloshen, a house of narrowness. Akta means narrowness. Right, so that's why it's called a biksa. Kufta is a Rashi says it's a machteshes, which is it's where you grind things in, or a different type of bucket or something, which is a certain measurement. So why is it called a kufta? Kufisiv, because it's miloshen turnover and you can sit on it, right? A bucket you can turn over and sit on it. That's why it's called kufisiv. Livni, which are bricks, livnei bani. It's miloshen for your son's sons, right? Because bricks last a long time. Hutza is a type of gate that's made out of thin grasses and stuff. So it's miloshen chatzitza, because all it is just a chatzitza, small chatzitza, Chatzva is a jug that you take, a water jug. Shechoitzev mayim in a har, because it extracts. Choitzev literally means like when you extract a rock from a mountain, right? But over here also, it's you're extracting water from the river. Choitzev. Kuza. A kuza. Rashi says is a small pottery vessel. Kazeh, like this, so small, just like this. It's miloshen kazeh. Shutisa is Rashi says is a hadas, myrtle. So shutisa is shtusa. Anyone who dances with it, it looks like a shaita. I guess it looks pathetic. If you dance with it looks foolish. It looks foolish if you dance with it.
Want to come in?
Shutisa, Meshichla, Mashikula. Meshichla is a big cup. Everyone washes their hands from. Mashikula, it's miloshen mashikula, that everybody washes their hands with it. Everyone washes themselves from it. Mashachlisa is a small cup. That's mashukalsa. That's specifically designated that it's a nice one. They would wash a kala's hands with it, right? So that's miloshen mashukalsa. Asisa chaserta. Asisa, what's asisa? Mortar. Rashi says mortar, right? So a mortar is also the thing where it's a smaller thing where you crush spices in. Chaserta, it's miloshen chaser. Asisa is chaserta because it's hollow inside. Buchna is the pestle, I think it's called. It's the thing you bang the spices with, right? So that's miloshen boivakenu. Come, I'll hit it. Levusha. Why is levush called levusha? Loy busha, because it takes away no more embarrassment once you're clothed. Glima. Glima is a cloak. Why is it called shenai savoy kegelem? Because it makes you have a form. Right? When you have a cloak, now you have a form. Otherwise, it's with a tighter clothing that gives you a form. Gulsa. Miktarin, Rashi says. I'm not sure that it's some type of incense type of thing.
A cape. Gulsa is a cape. It's a
cape?
Cape, yeah.
It's some type. Okay, so maktor maybe means a coat usually. Okay, gulsa.
He folds up the cape. When Superman sits down, he has to fold up his cape.
Golivase. It's like the frock. It's like a frock when the Hasidim when they pick up their long coat. Before they sit down, they pick it up, right? So that's goli ve'esev. Let me reveal it up and then sit down. Puria. Why is the bed called Puria? Shapar and V'rovan allowed because you make be fruitful and multiply. You make children.
Babies.
Right. Bar. zinka. Bar zinka, I think, is an empty. Rashi said it was an empty pit. Why is it called a bar zinka? Bar zenaki. This bar is clean. Sudra. Sudra was a type of turban that Chachamim would wear. So it's a Sayyid Hashem Li Re'av. It's Milosh and Sayyid Hashem Li Re'av because only Tamir Chachamim wear it. Apadna. Apadna is a palace. It's like a nice house. Apischadein. It's Milosh and Apischadein. Like this is the house. This is the house to be. This is the entrance to be. Okay. Okay, so that's Taner Rabbanan Shleisha calls Mancha Maskinu Esivim Gvur. It's another little memra that three things that as they get older they have more strength always. Veiluhen dag v'nachash v'chazir. A fish, a snake, and pigs, they always get stronger. They don't, even in their old age, they don't get weaker. Okay, so back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that shemen kedei lasuch ever katan. The amount of shemen you need to take out is to be soch an ever katan. What's an aver katan? And Amar de Rabbi Yana shemen kedei lasuch ever katan shel katan ben yom. It means a small aver, like the pinky of a baby, the first day it's born, right? And that's the amount of oil that you would be chayav for. That's very small, right? So aver katan doesn't just mean the small aver, like an adult's pinky. It means the pinky of a small baby, even, right? So meisivi shemen kedei lasuch aver katan. The Brisa says shemen kedei lasuch aver katan v'katan ben yomai, right? So it sounds like it's two things. First of all, soch aver katan, and also a katan ben yomai. My love aver katan de gadol. The first thing the Brisa is saying is that even a small aver of a gadol, the aver gadol shel katan ben yomai, and that is equal. It's the same amount that you would need to do an aver gadol of a child that's born, right, of a baby that's born today, right? So meaning the aver katan in the Mishnah is referring to an adult's aver katan, which is equal to an aver gadol of a baby. So Amri lach Rabbi Yanai says no. It means to say one long statement and an aver katan and I mean of a katan ben yomai. Right, so he's not reading it as two things. It's one long description. Maybe it's Machlis Tanaim. Shema kedei lasuch ever katan v'katan ben yomai. Rabbi Shimon Elazar. Right, Rabbi Shimon Elazar says that right, that was him. Lasuch ever katan v'katan ben yomai. Nasan never kedei lasuch ever katan. Only lasuch ever katan. My love bakamifik is that not the Machlis? Rabbi Shimon Elazar said ever katan shel katan. He means like Rabbi Yanai said, the ever katan of a katan. Rabbi Nasan savar no ever katan the gadol, and that's the machlokes. Otherwise, what's the machlokes? Right, Rabbi Nasan holds not like that. Right, Rabbi Nasan holds that it's an ever katan the gadol or ever gadol the katan. Right, even a bigger one of a katan of ever katan shel katan ben yomai. But he would hold that if it's the small of the small, if it's a small aver of the small child, right, that's too small. He holds no, it's either the big aver of the small child or the small aver of a gadol, but not the small of a small. Gemara says, right, so therefore you see that that's taka a machlekes. And Gemara says, loy, the kula alma, maybe everyone argues on Rabbi Yana. Kula alma aver katan de katan ben yomai. Loy, everyone agrees that if it's a katan of a katan ben yomai, loy, that is not chashiv enough. The lace of Rabbi Yana, no one holds like Rabbi Yana. Maybe, I mean, you can interpret the Brisa so that no one holds like Rabbi Yana. If it is machlekes, Shimon Elazar very katan de gadol, very katan ben yomai kiyad dadininu. Shimon Elazar holds avada. You have to read it in two parts, and it means ever katan to gadol, right? And the ever gadol of a katan. But he holds, and they're talking the same shear, and that's what he's saying. That an ever katan to gadol, ever gadol of katan ben yomai ki hadadinu, the same exact shear. From Nasan Zavar, no, ever katan to gadol in a small ever of a katan. Yes, you're right. You would be chayiv on that. But ever gadol of the katan ben yomai loy. But that's not. That even the aver gadol of a katan ben yomai, I guess, is not big enough. It's not equal. They're arguing in the size. He's saying that's not the same size. So what are you talking about? So therefore, they're just arguing in terms of the size. They're not arguing in halacha, and they both disagree with Rabbi Yanai and say that if it's the aver katan of a katan ben yomai, you would be potter. The Gemara says, "My have Allah." What's the halacha? Tashima Ditani Rabbi Shimon Elazar. I'm a shemen kedei lasuch ever katan shel katan ben yomai. Rabbi Shimon Elazar says beferish that it's kedei like Rabbi Yanai that says that the amount of oil you would be chayiv is even if it's a very small amount that could anoint that could only be smeared on the aver katan of a baby the first day it's born. You're still chayiv. Okay, so the Gemara sounds like that's the halacha.
Yeah.
Okay, shkoyach.
Have a good Shabbos. Yep.
Shabbos. If we want, we could do Motzei Shabbos also.
Maybe like 10:30ish.
Okay, it's pretty late, but we'll try. Let's be in touch.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good Shabbos.
Shkoyach, good Shabbos, Kol Tov.